The title of this recording is The Christian Religion A, Segment A. Now in this set of recordings, I want to give an overview. When I say an overview, I'm talking about a very different kind of overview of the Christian religion itself. And I want to couch it in world history. I want to give an overview of the Christian religion. This is going to be dabbling in theology. And this is going to be looking at things of the Christian religion. But this is not going to be the view of some church's position. This is not going to be the Catholic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church, the Protestant churches, or any of the great pastors from the times past, or any of the great pastors from the here and now. This is not going to be Sunday school. This is not going to be any of that. This is going to be my position in how the Christian religion was, what became of it, and how it is today. And the reason I'm going to put this down on a recording, and I hope to God I don't get killed, the reason I'm going to put this down on a recording is because we live in the 21st century, and we really seriously need to understand, especially if we live in the Western world, which I do, I live in America, what this is and how this is and what it was originally and what it became and how it devolved and how it evolved and how it became good and how it became bad and how it became good and how it became bad, etc., etc., etc. So we want to take a look at this, and there will be theology in here, so please don't be freaking out. I'm not going to bash you over the head with theology, okay? I am not a pastor. That's not who I am. I'm a person that looks at the truth. And sometimes the truth is not as cool as I would like it to be, but it is the truth. If it's the truth, I'm going to look at it. So, this is going to be my personal view of the Christian religion. It's also going to be my personal view of what it's all about, what it's for, why it's on this planet, and what's going on surrounding it, what was going on when it came. Of course, it wasn't always called the Christian religion. It used to be called the Way, and the Christians used to be called followers of the Way. I want to make a big point about that. And I really want to seriously make a big point about before it was ever called Christianity, before it was swallowed up or sort of cast as the mantle of the Roman Empire, what it was, because it was a very different thing back then. So let's do that. Okay, I want to start this by making a couple of things clear. Christianity is an extension of the Old Testament, and it is New Testament compiled with Old Testament. Now, the reason I say this is because I want to look at the Bible as a book. But not only do I want to look at the Bible as a book, but I want to go back in history to the time of when the Bible started, when it formulated, etc., etc. And I want to look at some of the other books too. The Vedas and etc., etc., etc. The reason I want to do this is because somehow, some way, we in the Western world, and especially in America, but we in the Western world have this idea that the Bible is like, okay, this is the end all and tell all and blah 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 of planet Earth, when in fact that is not the case. The case is that there are other cultures on this planet that aren't even mentioned in the Bible. The Chinese culture is not mentioned in the Bible. The culture of India is not mentioned in the Bible. The cultures that were populating the Americas, both North and South, are not mentioned in the Bible. And more. The Viking thing is not mentioned in the Bible. There's more. So I want to make that clear because I really want to look at this for what it really is. And eventually we're going to get to looking distinctly at here's the New Testament times and what and why and the wherefores and all of that sort of thing. But let's start here. Let's start at the beginning of the Bible and what that was all about as the book of the Bible, which is like, okay, here's the sacred book of Judaism and Christianity. Now, the Jews would disagree with that because, honestly, they don't like the New Testament. But I'm taking the perspective of, hey, I'm an American rather, living in America, and I was raised as a Christian, so that's the perspective I'm taking. If I was raised as a Orthodox Jew, I'd probably look at Christianity and say, pooey, whatever the thing is. But that's not. I'm talking about a worldview, and I'm explaining this from my worldview because all of this is just my worldview. Okay. Now, as I said before in another recording, the actual Bible, as it applies to the Semitic race, we're talking a strain of DNA, humans of a certain strain of DNA, actually starts in Genesis chapter 2. Why do I say that? Because in Genesis 1, chapter 1, you have a massive overview of, here's the history of planet Earth. It is a massive sweeping overview, and it looks at time and it says, okay, time is going at super rapid speed. Okay, and time doesn't stop going at that super rapid speed until Genesis 2, and only in Genesis 2 does Yahweh show up. And this is where I'm going to say some things that are going to be incredibly controversial to both Jews and Christians. But it's right there. Just pull out any copy of the Bible. There it is, right in your face. So controvert all you want. Hey, this is about the 21st century and where the humans are heading in the 21st century and getting a hold of our humanness in the 21st century. You know, who we are and what we are and where we're headed. Because this world's a mess. And the mess is about to go through a massive shift, and we need to be prepared. So, you know, have at it. Get as mad as you want. Just check it out. Here we go. In Genesis 1, of course, we have the story of here's how the earth is formed, the 6 days of creation, and all the terms in there are using Elohim. Elohim is not, I repeat, Elohim is not the Yahweh God. It is not the singular Yahweh God. That doesn't mean that it's not one of the beings that live within the God system, like some angels or some, who knows what. Maybe they're interdimensionals, maybe they're inter this, inter that, who knows. All we know is, hey, they weren't from Earth because there was nothing on Earth. They just showed up to Earth or on Earth and started working with Earth so that Earth finally becomes the Earth that we know, our home. Okay? So that's what the first chapter of Genesis is about. How far does it go back in time? I don't know. Nobody knows. Not even the most staunch Jewish scholar could tell you that. Here's what they will tell you, though. The word day, as it is written in Hebrew, in the original Hebrew text in Genesis 1, connotes this: a segment of time, undetermined amount of time, of great and mighty works. That's what that word written in that ancient Hebrew language actually means. When they write that word in that ancient Hebrew language, as you can find it on the computer, etc., 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 in the ancient Hebrew script, not the modern Hebrew script, we're talking about ancient Hebrew script. That's what the word means. It means a time period, an undetermined time period of great and mighty works. So when it says a day, on the first day, this is what happened. And then it goes all the way through the 6 days. And then the 6th day, mankind was created, and they said, okay, now go multiply, breed like rabbits, have some fun, and multiply the earth and do all your stuff. And then on the sixth day, the Elohim said, hey, this is good. Okay, let's rest. And that's when chapter 2 begins. But what was the time period between chapter 1 and chapter 2? Nobody knows. It could be a long, 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 long time. A really long super time. I mean, a really super long time, I mean. We don't know. We don't know. All we can do is speculate. I can tell you this much. I'm not a dabbler in the ideas of, oh, I'm a young earth believer. I don't believe that for a second. I think it goes way, way, way far back in time. Like way, way far back in time. And why am I even making this point? I'm making this point because let us never forget the Christian Bible, even the Bible